Medical disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor, nor do I have any formal medical training. All content found in this video, for example, text, images, audio, figures, etc., is for informational purposes only. This video is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard, seen, or read about in this video.
Hi, I'm Ashley. Today's video was inspired by a question from somebody in the Twitter community, and the question is how to do injections if you can't tolerate them. So this is actually a problem that I encountered early on. I had a lot of side effects when I did injections, and even just taking B12 orally. So let me talk about oral B12 for a second. When I tried cyanocobalamin, a tiny dose, I'm talking like 16 micrograms. I would take one of those gummies, I think they were like 500 micrograms, and I would cut them up into tiny itty bitty little pieces. And I calculated the little piece to be about 16 to 20 micrograms. When I would take that, it would literally make me manic. Like, I was extremely restless, agitated, pacing around the house, just so much energy, wanted to clean everything, could not stop talking, really big mood elevation. I mean, it was just, I felt out of control after just taking a tiny dose. And I also got severe insomnia and anxiety. I repeated that experiment a couple of times, and I would get the same effect. When I tried hydroxocobalamin, I think it was hydroxocobalamin and adenosylcobalamin mixed together. I think it was Pure Encapsulations brand. I felt nothing. Like, I could take a couple hundred. I was working my way up through it. I took a couple hundred micrograms, I think 300 or 400, and I felt absolutely nothing. And my B12 levels also did absolutely nothing. When I try methylcobalamin, I get a similar effect to the cyanocobalamin, except for I get a lot more mood elevation. But I could go to higher doses with methylcobalamin in oral form than I could with the cyano. What I think that kind of indicates to me, or at least this is what turned out to be the case, was that the oral formulations that I was not able to tolerate were actually the formulations that I needed in injection form to heal my body. And let me explain what I mean by that. So, to date, I have tried cyano injections and hydroxo injections. I've got some methyl stuff on the way to try out. Cyano injections, when I did my first couple of injections, again, I got kind of a similar effect to the oral formulation of it. You know, severe insomnia, anxiety, restless, again, almost like a mania reaction to the injection. But the cyano injections have healed a lot of my symptoms or have lessened them substantially. I did have the B12 deficiency for a very long period of time, so it's possible that some of these symptoms are going to take years to recover, if they even recover at all. The strong reaction to the oral cyano was a clue that the injection form of cyano was also going to work. For hydroxo injections, when I do those, I get no effect. My symptoms actually worsen if I stay on hydroxo injections only. Now, I'm not sure why this is. They are metabolized differently in the body to the final forms of methyl and adenosyl. You know, I never quite figured out what was going on, but again, the hydroxo injections having no effect was similar to oral hydroxo, and that I felt no effect on my symptoms. And then the methyl injections, like I said, I haven't received those yet, so I haven't tried them out. So what should you do if you're having reactions to B12 shots? So, you know, there's a bunch of different reactions that people can have to B12 injections. If you're having similar reactions like I'm having, kind of like this hypomania, agitation, restlessness, probably the best way to go about it. Now, this is not how I did it because I was in dire straits. I just needed to like do it. I just needed to go for the full dose. A better approach would be, and this is what I did with hydroxo injections in the beginning, is to inject just a little bit. You don't need to inject 1,000 micrograms. Again, unless you're on your deathbed, then you just need to do the full shot. But if you've got some time, you can try injecting a small amount. Do 100 micrograms. Do 50 micrograms. There's no rule that says that you have to inject the full dose your first time unless your life is in jeopardy. And then you can just increase it from there. You can increase it in 100 microgram increments. You can space out the injections. I'm injecting every day. I would start at a smaller dose and work your way up. And if you're having a strong reaction like that, it means you need the shots, right? It means that you're low in B12. If you didn't need B12, you'd have no reaction, right? It would be like drinking a glass of water. You wouldn't feel anything. So a strong reaction, from my perspective and from my experience, means that that form of B12 is likely the most effective for you, and you need to find a way to work your way through it. And if you're getting sort of like psychiatric side effects like I was getting, it's very important to have a mental health professional kind of on standby to prescribe a medication or whatever to tamp that down if you need to. The solution isn't to not inject B12. B12 deficiency, if left untreated, can cause permanent, irreversible damage or death eventually. So this is not something that you can just sidestep and hope it goes away. You have to figure out a way to work through it. And if that means taking other medications along with the injections in order to be able to bear the side effects, then that's what you might need to do. If you're having different reactions that aren't the ones that I've mentioned, like if you're having allergic reactions or whatever, you need to change the formulation. You may need a specially compounded injection, but if other things are causing issues, you might need to change the brand or whatever that you're using. Three main things to get around this. One, start off with smaller doses in your injections and choose the time schedule that you inject. Two, try changing the formulation. And then the last thing is to consider other medications to deal with the side effects, especially in the startup of the injections. I will say that most of those symptoms went away with treatment. Every other day injections, I don't have the insomnia and all of that. When I go back to everyday injections, especially with a full dose, I feel like a spaceship. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of energy. And so that can be kind of hard to deal with. But again, what I can do is inject a smaller dose on the off days and do a full dose on the on days. You know, there's a lot of different ways, you know, you can do this, and this is why I think it's better to do your own injections versus having somebody else do it, because you have full control over the type of B12, over the amount of B12, and over when you do the B12, right? So yeah, so I hope that answers the question. I hope this video was useful. If you have any comments or, you know, specific questions or whatever, drop them in the comments below. And click like and subscribe if you want to get more videos on this topic and some of the other health topics that I plan on talking about. Bye!